I'm going to finish up chapter 28 of the book of Acts today. When last we left, we talked about not trusting in the ship and that the people are worth more and that our faith is solely solidified in God's promises. I want to finish up chapter 27 today and see how things turn out on the ship. When last we left, the sailors had cast out the sea anchors and are praying for dawn. And here's what happens. As the sailors were trying to escape from the ship and had let down the ship's boat into the sea on the pretense of intending to lay out the anchors from the bow, Paul said to the centurion and to the soldiers, "Unless these men remain, you yourselves cannot be saved." So then the soldiers cut away the ropes from the ship's boat and let it fall away. Until the day was about to dawn, Paul was encouraging them all to take some food, saying, "Today is the 14th day that you've constantly been watching and going without eating, and having taken nothing. Therefore I encourage you to take some food, for this is for your preservation. For not a hair from the head of any of you will perish." Having said this, he took bread, gave thanks to God in the presence of all, and he broke it all and began to eat. All of them were encouraged, and they themselves also took some food. So, two things happen in this moment. Whenever it's dark, the grounds, the island's getting closer. Hope is nearly lost for everyone. People are about to jump ship and abandon it. Paul says to the centurion, "We're in this together." He reminds him, God gave all these people into my hands, and if we're not all here, there's going to be loss of life. And so the centurion takes some action, cuts away the lifeboats. You know, it doesn't really seem wise, does it? But they do it. They cut away the lifeboats, cast them out into the sea. The centurion did not believe Paul to begin with, but now he's beginning to trust that Paul might be onto something. And so they cast away the boat, and then Paul stands up in front of everybody, gathers them all together, says, It's been a hard 2 weeks. We've all been looking for help and we ain't had any. You hadn't even taken food. We're all worn out. But for our preservation, we need to eat a little something. And it's gonna be okay. Nobody's gonna die. It might not be easy, but nobody's going to die. And so all the people took a little bit to eat, started feeling a little bit better about themselves, trusting a little bit about this good word of hope from Paul. And they were encouraged. Verse 37. All of us in the ship were 276 persons. When they had eaten enough, they began to lighten the ship by throwing out the wheat into the sea. And when day came, they could not recognize the land, but they did observe a bay with a beach, and they resolved to drift the ship onto it if they could. And casting off the sea anchors, they left them in the sea, while at the same time they were loosening the ropes of the rudders and hoisting the foresail to the ship. And they were running headlong to the beach. So they saw, wow, maybe there is hope. Maybe we might make it to ground. Cast off the anchors, hurled up this, pulled the sail to full so they could get a full head of steam and run straight up onto that beach with the ship. But remember what Paul said. Ship wasn't coming with them. The people were going to be okay, but the ship and everything else was going to be lost. So here's what they said. Verse 41. But striking a reef where the two seas met, they ran the vessel aground, and the prow stuck fast and remained immovable. But the stern began to be broken up by the force of the waves. The soldiers' plan was to kill the prisoners so that none of them would swim away and escape. But the centurion, wanting to bring Paul safely through, kept them from their intention and commanded that those who could swim jump overboard first and get to land, and the rest should follow, some on planks and other on various things from the ship. And so it happened that they were all brought safely to land. It's interesting that some of the soldiers didn't even believe they were that close to home base, and they didn't believe they were going to make it. So they were going to take everybody out. But that centurion, yet again, that noble man stood up and stopped him from doing something silly. You know, I have an affliction. It's affliction that's always been with me. And it's affliction called selfishness. And I think everybody, to some extent, is selfish. We all want good things for ourselves, right? What I see in this last passage is a doing things that we are all in this ship together, right? There are these people. 276 persons were in this ship, and Paul says, "Let's get together. Let's eat together. Let's move on together, and let's be saved together." And the first thing that happens is, some people are trying to jump off the ship. They're trying to get away from all the rest of everybody else. Well, I don't trust these people with their own freedom, so we're going to kill them. I would rather kill them on the ship than let them be saved and be free. And were it not for Paul and the centurion, who knows the loss of life? But instead, whenever they took away the selfishness of some of these people, of trying to preserve themselves and let everybody else hang, or kill somebody else so that they don't have freedom, Paul and centurion did a noble, grand thing. And you know, Jesus says, if you want to follow me, you have to deny yourself and take up your cross. We got to care for other people. And I don't think there's anything wrong with taking care of yourself and the things that you need. Paul tells them all, hey, let's eat because you want to have strength so that you can go through. It's fine to take care of yourself in life as best you can. However, whenever you do it to the detriment of other people, when your preservation of your life is above the well-being of other folks, that's selfish. And so in this narrative, of course, this is a story about the thing that Paul went through. But seeing how he could selflessly give over for the benefit of everyone else. And he consistently speaks good words of hope. Don't leave. Let's not leave, because if we do, there's going to be bad things happen. But they leave anyways, and so what he says is, we've chosen this path, but let's. But I want you to know, you're going to lose things, but you're going to be okay. And he stands up and he tells people, I know you're scared. I know you want to leave. I know you want to bail ship, but stick with it to the end. And we're all going to be okay. And in the end, the word is shown to be true. And so it happened that they all were brought safely to land. If it would have been acts of selfishness, life would have been lost. But because they gave to one another, they took care of one another. The ones that can't swim, give them something to float on. The ones that are weaker, let's help them out. And it does work out better whenever we're concerned for others and not just ourselves. Whenever we reach out and help those that are hurting. Whenever we realize that we're all in this together. We're all in this together. And not behave selfishly with one another, but instead give message of hope and provision. And then in the end, we may have to go through a shipwreck, a scary time. We may have to go through some difficult things. But in the end, God promises that we're all going to make it safe on land, on the other side, on the other shore. And that's where it's at. And so even though I have an affliction of selfishness, I try to work on it. I try to give to others. Don't do it perfectly, but God helps us with that. As we bring our selfishness to Him, He helps us to be a little more like Him. And I don't know about you, whether you're selfish or not, but I would encourage you to reach out to someone who needs a good word. And speak some good things of God, good things of hope for the future to those that may need it. And let them know that they're not alone. Because we aren't. We are in this together. Whether we like it or not. So we might as well be good to one another. And love God as we do it. Thank you for your time. You have a wonderful day. God bless you.